Hi everyone and welcome to Vlogmas Day 2, and today I'm going to be doing a book review of Furiously Happy by Jenny Lawson. I actually read this book about a month and a half ago, but I've been meaning to review it for a while. The first thing I want to start with is the cover, even though you shouldn't judge a book by the cover, but I just absolutely love this cover and I feel like it actually genuinely does really say a lot about the book. I'll bring it in a bit closer, but here we have a taxidermied raccoon, so much glitter, and it's really bizarre, but also the expression on the raccoon's face is so joyful, and that is how I would really, those are two words I would use to describe this book: very absurd and very joyful at the same time. So a bit of background: Jenny Lawson is a writer and blogger. Her blog is The Bloggess, and this is actually her second book. Her first book, Let's Pretend This Never Happened, is one of my favourite books, so I was inevitably going to buy it. I actually have a hardback copy, and it's been years before this since I bought a hardback, but I was so desperate to get my hands on it, and I knew it would probably be a book that I would treasure, so I wanted the full book experience rather than buying it on my Kindle, which is what I normally do with most books I get nowadays. So her first book, Let's Pretend This Never Happened, is subtitled A Mostly True Memoir, and it's stories from her life and her childhood, lots of funny stories, and Furiously Happy is kind of a continuation of that. Except in Furiously Happy, Jenny Lawson focuses more about her experience with mental illness. And the subtitle of this book is A Fun Book About Horrible Things, and I would say that is accurate. I found it absolutely hilarious. At the same time, especially compared to her last book, it is a lot more emotionally sincere and it's very emotionally raw. Jenny, as if we're very good friends, she has experience with depression and OCD and various anxiety disorders and other health ailments, and this book is just really lays it all out there. And as someone who has also experienced mental illness and who also lives with anxiety, it's just so, it feels really secure to see someone else's experience written down, and also the attitude that she takes towards it is something that I really admire. It's very far from pretending that everything is rosy all the time with the various illnesses that she lives with, but she also does have that element of being furiously happy. She has to deal with this, but she also experiences times of great joy, and I found it really interesting, especially thinking about in terms of mental illness and success, because one time, I don't think in this book, it's probably on her blog, but she said, hey, on paper she's a very successful writer and a happy marriage, yet she still has all of these issues. Sometimes mental illness is chronic, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the life being lived isn't worthwhile and can't be full of moments that are furiously happy and full of joy. And that's really the main message I take from the book. This is a book that I care a lot about very deeply. To actually give a proper review, there are some parts of the book that I just wasn't that keen on. They just didn't do that much for me. It's actually split up into many chapters, quite small. I think there's actually, just flipping through, yeah, it doesn't actually say chapter numbers, but there you can see the various titles and see that there are a lot of them. But overall, how I feel about this book is just completely overshadows parts of it that I don't like. Compared to her last book, I feel like the writing is a lot slicker, it's more sharp there, it's concise, even though her style does frequently use quite long sentences. It's definitely a book that I'm going to reread again and again. And just to sum up, I'm going to read out a sentence from the end of the note from the author, which I think really says a lot about the book. I hope you'll find it to be the perfect follow-up to my last book. Strange, funny, honest, and more than a little bit peculiar, but in the best way possible, like all of us. Jenny Lawson.